Brad Williams, Excel Prime. This is almost a duplicate of tutorial 49 where we were grabbing information from 3 different worksheets. Well, here, same layout, same data. The difference, we're not referencing all 3 sheets in the COUNTIF. Okay, we use the sum product. Here, we're just going to use the COUNTIF. Here in indirect, and I thought I'd just show you, we're going to grab everything in sheet 1. Why? Because we're referencing sheet 1. Then we're just going to use the sum function. So you notice the difference, no sum product. This may be easier to understand. We're using indirect, that's our range. What's our criteria? It's going to be Jim. Here, sheet 1, we're going to grab everything here. If Jim is, in addition to here, if the name is down at row 1 million, it's also going to be counted. Here's our data. Here's our formula. Here's our anatomy. Here's our write-up. Write-up says to search multiple worksheets within a workbook for a number and return a count, you can use a formula-based COUNTIF with indirect. What is indirect? We're referencing a text. We're saying grab everything in this reference, which is going to be sheet 1. Instead of going in, doing something like this, equals COUNTIF, just doing this, grabbing this. Notice how it says sheet 1. I don't want to grab the entire sheet. We need to put a comma here and then go back, hit Jim, close this. We're getting the same result, F9, F9. We're doing the exact same thing. Whatever works for you. If this works for you, you remember I said in 49, said there's a lot of ways to do this. Well, here's one. If you want to do this 3 times, you can. You can go this plus and do the exact same for sheet 2 and plus sheet 3. You can do this exact same thing and remove this indirect and just do a quasi-cell reference over into sheet 1. Whatever works for you. You can see sheet A1, A39, 946, and you can get all this other stuff. You can see the savings. It's a mirror. Indirect, saving you a few steps. And you can imagine if you had a huge worksheet and we're trying to implement this. I just wanted to go off on a bit of a tangent to say, do I have to use indirect? No. If you're going to use indirect, the workbook contains a total of 4 worksheets, sheet 1 and sheet 3, and 50 random names. Talking point here, the sheet names to include in the search are contained in this list here. B7 references is sheet 1. B7, B7. This is going to say B8, and this is going to be B9. For the other tutorial, we were looking at concatenating, grabbed all 3 under sheet because we named it the reference text sheets. Indirect picked up all 3 sheets. Okay, you can see the difference. And then reading this thing, look, go back in here. The reference text F9 is just reading sheet because that's how we identify it. We're concatenating whatever we want indirect to show. C4 is Jim. Reading on, this sheet 1, this concatenation is passed as the reference text argument to the indirect function. Indirect evaluates this text and returns a reference to each cell in sheet 1 using the normal format. This is entered as the list into COUNTIF. The data set is provided as an absolute reference to column C4 and is locked so that the formula can be copied down. COUNTIF then returns the cell count whose value equals C4, which in this case is C7. If you want to count all cells that contain the value in C4 as opposed to all cells that are equal to C4, you can add wildcard to the data set. In other words, if we wanted to count all the names, we can do that. And the outcome is 8. Practice. This is just about practice. You can override this whole thing by referencing, in other words, pointing to just adding an internal worksheet to your calculating sheet. Got it? Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Thanks for watching.